Libra. Okay, let's get going with your energy assessment. So the first thing I noticed is I don't see your root chakra online. Don't freak out, by the way. I should have said this before. When I say like I don't see a chakra, it doesn't mean it like disappeared or it's gone. What this is telling me is that you haven't felt a sense of grounding in a long time, but you might have think you do. It's sort of like you're allowing other people to tell you what home means. And I don't mean people around you. I mean, like, I get the feeling that sort of societal things have been telling you like what home means, or it should feel a certain way, or it should be a certain way, like maybe more traditional ways is what I'm getting. And so you don't even realize that you're actually not that grounded. You do, I'm seeing a little bit of this come online. You do have some natural grounding. I can feel that you might be a natural ground for others, but you're not identifying with this need to be grounded. Like it's something that you're like, what is that even? And why would I need to do that? And so it's basically just like underutilizing this very powerful tool that you have to be grounded. In your sacral chakra, this has lost a lot of energy. I can see sort of this outside covering is pretty much all gone. So you've got this little bit of stuck energy down in here. This feels like repression to me. So you might be feeling this as sexual repression. And to be honest, I've kind of felt like you might have felt sexually repressed most of your life. You may not identify with that, but meaning that you might just have more traditional views of sexuality and, you know, who you should share sex with, which is okay. Everyone has their own views. But what I'm getting with this again is that whether you know it or not, your views around sex are based on more societal norms and societal views. So for lack of a better word, this chakra here is just sort of deflated. And this doesn't just affect your, sexual energy. This is your, this is the womb of creation. This is your passion and your pleasure center. So it's almost like you are keeping yourself from pleasure by trying to subscribe to the normal social rules and agenda that's out there for us. And I get the sense, I was going to say, for some of you, it feels like that's just what you've always done. But for some of you, it feels like for some reason, you just started caring about, like what other people think. And so you're not having as much fun or taking as much pleasure because of what other people think. Your solar plexus is much in the same way. It's deflated. It's got a lot of feminine energy in it, which is good, but you don't have any masculine energy. This is feeling like a very passive chakra. And it's also got this, this covering is bent out of shape. It's almost just gone. And you do have some stuck energy kind of in this deflated piece. So what we really need to do is just ramp these both up. And just sort of get them ticking again. So it's almost like a clock that has stopped working. Okay, we want to get them ticking again. So you might just, not have the self-confidence that you should have. And I get the sense that that's been going on actually a lot of your life. So your poor little heart chakra, Libra, I saw like a little crack in your heart, like your heart is breaking. And I actually don't talk about this a lot, but I see the heart chakra with 2 chambers, just like our regular heart has 2 chambers. So you have this like divide between these 2 chambers. Number 1, I feel your heart broken. And this chakra is responsible for love, compassion, and acceptance of self and others. I really feel like you feel that someone around you doesn't love you, like they've broke your heart in a way. And you're very tender-hearted. I can feel that. You've got a lot of diffuse heart chakra energy just like hanging around, which tells me you've got kind of a leak in this chakra as well. Your throat chakra, I paused on this one trying to see it for a long time, and it wasn't even like it was just offline, you know, giving me that message, nothing to see here. It was actually just like you almost weren't aware that you are like allowed to express yourself. You weren't aware of the importance. You're not, or you weren't, you know, whether you haven't been and it's just starting to come into your awareness now, you just haven't seen this as an integral part of life. You haven't seen finding your true self and expressing your true self as an integral part of life. And I get the sense that you've never actually explored who you really are, what your personal truths are. You get this, again, it's the societal thing really coming through strong in your reading, Libra. So it's almost like, why would I even want to do that? And you might even be saying now, that's not that important in the grand scheme of my energy, but it is super important. So if you are an artist or creator, you might experience this thing where you have a lot of ideas, but you never bring them to life. They don't come through to fruition. It's partly because of your solar plexus chakra, but partly because you don't know how to express it. But more to me, again, this just feels like, why would I even need to be worried about that chakra? And like this whole idea of like finding your own truth and expressing who you are in whatever way resonates with you, just doesn't seem like you care or like you think it's very important. And it's actually not something we're going to focus on now anyway. Your third eye is looking really good, Libra. It works. It's fine. There's not anything, you know, big or small going on in there. It's just doing its thing. Your crown chakra is really just, it's a lot smaller. So you've got some power in here. There's maybe a little, it's almost like the energy's not stuck. It's just denser because you've taken a certain amount of energy, you know, let's say there was like a certain measurement amount of energy in each chakra. Yours, you kind of condensed from this larger space into this smaller space. And I'm getting, again, this is like societal things. I feel like you are I want to use the word religious versus spiritual. I feel like you're a religious person. You might have grown up in a church. I'm kind of feeling like a dogmatic, you know, I almost feels a little bit like maybe Catholicism. But what has happened is, even though you have a good amount of energy in your crown chakra, you are not connecting to God, source, you know, universe in the way that you could. You're definitely not living up to this kind of like spiritual or, you know, spiritual potential, because you have traditionally been a little more traditional, right? There's this sort of formula that you think you follow in order to get connected to source. It probably is the way you grew up. It could just feel very comfortable to you. And I would never ask anyone to change their, you know, philosophical or spiritual beliefs. But I do get the sense that this is the thing that you really want to work on. In fact, normally when I go through readings, I'll start jotting down some things that you can do for each of these. And I may come back to that, come back down to these in a minute. But what I'm getting is that this is the place you want to focus. So I'm not going to ask you to start believing different things or, you know, denounce anything you believe in now. What I'm going to ask you to do is read, research, you know, listen, audiobooks, YouTube University, everything that's available, you know, everything is available for free. I don't think you need a guru at this point in your life or anything to direct this, but what I do think you need to do is just start a survey. So, you know, like in college, there's like you know, you take your like survey courses, so you can kind of figure out like what you like and what you want to do. I do think you need sort of a religious and spiritual theological survey, okay? So it doesn't mean you have to, even when you start researching, it doesn't mean you have to change your mind about anything or commit to doing anything different. But what I do think you need to do is sort of see what's out there. And you can take it from a lens of, you know, maybe trying to find similarities in different philosophies or religions. Or you can, and if you're more comfortable because you're, you know, really don't want to, you know, step out too much or be too curious, whatever, you know, you identify with as your higher power, you can just ask your higher power to be there to protect and guide you. You can call in guides or angels or whoever you feel protects you and say, I want to do these work, but I'm going to ask you to sort of give me this veil of protection as I, you know, do study and research of other kinds. I think this is very, very important for you. And I almost never recommend starting at the crown chakra, but for you, because usually what you do down here has benefits all the way up here, but for you, what you do up here is going to have benefits all the way down. You are going to be able to direct some of this care. So what I would task you with is doing your, you know, reading, researching, etc., and see if anything comes to you in terms of, you know, doing sort of fixing for this kind of root chakra or any of these other lower chakras. Normally a nice passive thing I like to recommend is sound healing, and I'm getting a very strong message that that's not going to be a good fit for you either. So let me take just one more beat here and see if I get anything for these lower chakras. Okay, no, but I do get something for your heart chakra. So a nice tea, a floral tea, lavender, roses, not rose hips, lavender, rose, a holy basil or tulsi tea. Give yourself kind of a treat. Have a tea. If you can, you know, I like a mixture of chamomile, rose petals, and lavender, or you can just buy, you know, a chamomile tea or whatever. Give this to yourself as a treat at night. Make it kind of a ritual, something nice that you do for yourself. It'll also wind you down so that you can sleep a little better, but you really need some like nurturing in this heart chakra. But I'm just getting the sense that you're very, very sensitive right now in a lot of these spaces, and so just that tea for the heart chakra, and then just reading, research. You don't have to be looking for anything in particular. Just start thinking about learning about other religions, other religious texts, other more spiritual philosophies, whatever you know are comfortable with. Just something other than what you know now. Okay, thanks, Libra.